X, the Rolling Stones. Um, I'm gonna let him tell you guys who the hell he is and who he's worked with, and Wu-Tang. It's just crazy. This is going to be a great interview. This is one of those interviews where the people that are behind the scenes, this is going to really show you about the people that are behind the scenes that are responsible for some of the biggest songs that we've ever heard in our lives that you never even hear about. Without further ado, this is the one, the only Richard Oliver. All right, let's turn up in the screen. Let's get the sound going. Mr. Oliver,
What's
can you
that?
hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Beautiful. And you are loud and clear. So that is a good thing.
Okay.
Take off this right here. Let me just hide this one. All right. So I was just telling everybody that you are a music producer.
Yes, sir.
All right. How long have you been in this game?
Okay. In the producer seat, I've been in the game since about 1999.
Okay.
Okay. In the sound before that, I was a sound mixer for about
Okay.
20 years, and I was a final mixer. You know, some of the credits you mentioned that I got was while I was a sound mixer, but then I went into producer's mode by because I was doing such a good job as sound mixer, and I would do a lot more as sound mixer, and
Yeah.
extend the envelope of my abilities. And I got chosen to be a producer by some big names.
Gotcha.
Nothing pays off like hard work.
Definitely. Now, let's take it back to the very beginning. Cisco is in, I'm really big on that, taking things back to before you became who you are. How did you get into the music business?
All right, that's a funny story. I had a band when I was 12 years old, and I
Okay.
wanted to do music eventually. I turned 16 years old, and I wanted to just do my own music in a recording studio. I'm talking like 1976, 78, somewhere around there.
Wow.
And so I just wanted to do my music, and I got to tell you, at that point, I wasn't that great. I still had a lot of learning to do. Well,
Gotcha.
anyway, this friend of mine worked for a company that serviced recording studios. And he goes to me simply like this. He goes, I have the job that you are designed for. So I started out being technician, assistant engineer, just working hard and thinking of eventually, doing my own music. But I worked really hard. I studied. I'd take the outboard equipment manuals and console manuals home at night to
Nice.
read, and piss off a lot of girlfriends. And so I really put my nose to the grindstone, as they say. But that's why I say hard work, pays off.
Gotcha.
I skip parties, I skip, you know, events and stuff so that I could be better at that. And so I started learning that much about the equipment. I started getting small gigs, just recording the guitar.
Yes.
My first gig with the Rolling Stones was the famous Tom Dowd at Atlantic Records asked me to sit in for him for a while. And who was I recording? Keith Richards on guitar.
Unbelievable.
And I work with so many people over the years, and varying my capacity as a sound mixer, which I had never intended to be. I didn't even know what it was when I got into the business.
Okay.
I'm by studying, and having some musical chops, I just kept getting more and more gigs, of
Okay.
just every kind of gig,
All right. Cool.
and
So I'm gonna just slow you down right there, right? Because
yes,
you are
sir.
going in, and I know you have an extensive career in this industry, and I want to pick your brain a little bit. All right. So
Yes, sir.
now all of these accolades, these 7 nominations, 11 Grammys, or vice versa. Tell us, break those down for me. What songs? Who were the artists? And what were you nominated for?
Okay, I'll give you a basic because there's been very many
Oh,
people
wow.
that I work with,
Excuse me.
and like some of the golds I got were doing like only working on a couple songs on an album, like for the B-52s, for the Talking Heads, for Patrick Adams,
It's wow.
tiny bit for Whitney Houston, and it just kept increasing. So I have to look at the list sometimes myself because, like I said, I was still in the headspace of wanting to do my own music.
Yes.
But then I kept doing better, doing more, doing better,
Gotcha.
learning more, and being able to record more in big, higher bands. So
Got-
they would, and I try to be a good person and get along with people. We're all God's children, so that I took that attitude into the studio to work hard, to not be a dickhead, to put it simply.
yes.
And I reveled in the music. I was still young, and I got to work with these huge names.
Gotcha.
I got to work with James Brown a tiny bit. We became, even though I only worked with him a tiny bit, we
Uh,
became friends like really early, and I mean really in a short amount of time.
gotcha.
And his main background singer, Lola Blank, we're still really really good
That's
friends.
amazing. All
Dennis
right,
and Darvis.
Oliver. So just just give me one name that one of those nominations or Grammys or platinums. Give us one name that those
D, DM,
from.
D, DMX, what the girls won. I produced the final mix.
Okay, wow. So
I
meeting DMX and Cisco and working with them on that song. What was that like?
the way I work is like you would want a good driver to be in charge of your caravan or locomotive or something. I really concentrate really hard on the music. I really zone into the music. I'll find myself even now, like I get into the music so far, I find myself moving to the music while I'm mixing and letting it get into my heart, my soul, my mind, but keeping my technical prowess, like driving the gigantic SSL 9000Js. SSL, the CEO of the time, Pierce Plaskett, used to tell people I was one of the top 10 power users,
Nice,
which
nice.
I don't know if he was just complimenting. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. So okay, good. So what you really want from an Igga, that's the song that you got a platinum for, or you were nominated for a Grammy. Which one?
That I got 5 times platinum for that song. I mixed and
Really?
produced the final mix. The final
Nice.
single is me. The single that you hear on all the jukeboxes,
Yes.
all the original CD, that's only me. I was in Electric Lady Studio B. Okay, I was actually getting ready to go home, and the manager buzzed on intercom Studio B and said, "Do you want to? Will you do a special mix tonight?" And she said, even if you just do a rough mix, just try to do your best job. Now, you tell me to do my best job, I am going to give you platinum.
Wow. What
And
was
they
his
let me
name?
have
What was his name? What was his name, and where was he from? What was his name?
Oh, well, which the manager
Yeah,
or
the guy that said, "Do this mix for me, please."
oh, that was actually Mary Campbell, Campbell, of
Mary
whom we're
Kimball.
still in touch. That is
Right.
correct. She was the manager of Electric Lady for, I'd say, approximately 30 years. The first time I worked there at 19 years old, she was there as an assistant.
Unbelievable. So Electric Lady Studios is located where?
West 8th Street, Greenwich Village, New York City.
Oh,
I'm
wow.
from New York City. I used to live in Hell's Kitchen.
Got you. Hell's Kitchen. That's where Alicia Keys is from. Now, guys, for those of you that
That's
just
right.
this is the DJ Cisco Radio Network, and this is a hip hop and R&B show. And tonight we have a platinum Grammy nominated studio engineer and sound mixer right here. His name is Richard Oliver on DJC Radio Global, and I'm going to pick his brain because you know this is an indie artist radio station, and we want to get some knowledge for my producers, for my artists, how they should do and the techniques they should use, and all that good stuff, man. So this is going to be a great interview. So Richard Oliver worked with the Rolling Stones, DMX, Cisco. He got accolades for What You Really Want from an IGA with DMX and Cisco. And he's the one that did the mix. So the mix was done at the last minute, but it was so good that they just kept it. And that's the one that we've been hearing all this time. Rest in peace to DMX. So you're currently working with like Wu-Tang also sometimes?
I'm still connected with Wu-Tang Clan. In fact, Chill Trees, who became an assistant for the Wu-Tang Clan, was a friend of mine working for me that I got him hooked up with Divine and RZA, and on my word, they hired him. My word is good in the industry. That's one thing, is keep your word good. So when you speak to somebody like RZA, they know you're not pulling their pud.
Oh, wow.
You say it nicely.
That's dope, man. So you working with Wu-Tang, and have you done any like music mixing for them?
I did some work on their tracks, but I didn't do that much with them because at the time I was working, I was doing Electric Lady, so I was working with them outside of Electric Lady, and I even designed their 36th Street recording studio for them because I also studied. I was always curious about sound and sonics and stuff too, and that doesn't hurt a newcomer to learn how sound works.
Yeah.
Because then when they go in the studio and the monitors, and I'll say the word suck, you know, they know how to move them for stereo image. They know, oh, I got to tell everybody here a really, really, really important thing for doing any music.
Nice.
When it's even your place or a studio you're connected with, or even to go to studios, you know, like I used to be. I used to work all over New York City, a little down south, a little West Coast, and a little bit in London. Oh, and also Norway, expect. And anyway, what I used to do is bring a mix I did, okay? And if it's not a mix you did, pick a really, really good, accurate, #1 platinum Billboard with a bullet song and get used to it. So when you go in a studio that you're not used to their monitor systems, and I don't give a damn if it's small studio, big studio, in the middle studio, take that mix that you have learned by heart, and the first thing you do in that room is you play it soft a couple times, you play it medium a couple times, and you play it loud a couple times, and you will learn their monitor system. Okay, you will learn, problems or not, but almost every studio, even really good sounding studios, have a footprint to them. You know, if you go to Electric Lady Studio B and Electric Lady Studio A, they both sound great, but they sound a little bit different. Okay, so if you take a mix, like I used to take different mixes from different artists, but now I use the DMX thing because so many people have called it a perfect mix and stuff. Nobody's perfect, but you know, I like the compliments, especially coming from, you know, high up people, you know, in the industry. And I obviously did something right because it went 5 times platinum, and it plays good on a small, plays good on a TV. And that's another thing too, is don't just mix loud. Oh, I'm sorry.
No. I
beg your humble pardon. Respect.
I'm loving this. Go.
Yeah. So don't just mix loud, okay? Don't just mix soft. Don't just mix in the middle. And watch your ears, because ear fatigue is a real thing.
Mm,
Okay? What I would do when I go into the studio to mix blind, like a record, a new record that obviously no one has heard,
yes.
I would first put up the faders on the board, just a rudimentary mix without even any EQ or anything. And I would put up a half-ass balance so that I could learn where the song wanted to go. So I would listen to it rough and raw, okay, balance good. And that's one thing I learned in England. Be a balance engineer, they'd say. They'd say, be a balance engineer. And what they meant by that is keep everything in balance, because if you keep balance in mind, you know how to balance the snare against the kick. You know how to balance the hi-hat against the snare. And that's another piece of the bass, etc. On all the way up the board, all the way up the track.
Got you.
And
Got you. No, you're good.
Keep Motown in mind.
Okay.
Yeah.
Listen, you are dropping some crazy jewels. Like, you're dropping some major nuggets, gold boulders. I just want people to just grasp what's going on right now, because people have a lot of home studios now, and they are not even thinking about the fidelity or the technical side of it, like you're speaking. And that technical side, once it's applied properly, creates a platinum and very professional sounding product. People just think they could just do a recording, blah, 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 in their kitchen and put it out there. They're not thinking about the sonics, the balance, and stereo sounding, how we used to have it back in the days. How does that make you feel?
Well, people got to learn. That's why I worked my ass off for 40 years to learn these things. But I believe we're all brothers. All men are brothers to start with it. Number two, musicians are total brothers. Well, I never met a true musician that in 5 seconds we weren't speaking the same language. So these things I could say I paid for them with working my ass off for 4 decades. But that's why I freely give it away to the newcomer, because without these things, you could be fishing blind, but with these couple, call them tricks if you want, call them a formulaic approach, call it whatever you want, but it helps you along the path a whole lot. Like I'm saying, don't listen too loud, too quick, because of ear fatigue. When I used to do projects for Nokia, who was the biggest top #1 producer for MCA, I'd do my mix on the mid monitors, not too loud, but not too soft. But I'd do it. And then when I put up the gigantic 30,000 watt, 415-inch subwoofer, playback Westlake systems and shit, I'd actually go into the doorway of the studio so I could still hear, but I'd put earplugs in, and like Nokia, he's really cool dude, a great musician. He got the idea. I said, you want me fresh, not just at the beginning of the mix, not just at the middle of the mix, but most importantly at the end of the mix.
Nice.
Okay? So he got that.
So you protected your ears with the earplugs for that.
That's correct. And that could put some people off. Okay? Some people, like the first time he saw me, I'm giving him a loud playback of an artist. And the first time he saw me do that, he was like, he respected me already, but he was curious, a very curious man, very intelligent man. He said, what, I don't get it. It sounds really good already. Why are you, because I will go loud, but I will go early on, but I will go sporadically to watch my ears. I'll go loud, then I'll give myself a half hour or 40 minutes of going midfield, because also you want your stuff to sound good over a car radio. You want your stuff to sound good over a television. You want your stuff to sound good off a jukebox, etc., etc. It's club, blah, 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 everything. You want your stuff to sound good over everything. And the mistake some people do is mixing just loud. And there's this thing called the Fleischer-Munson curve. And it's how, look it up on the web. It's how the human ear hears and perceives sound at different loudnesses. Okay? So loud sounds better. Loud makes, man, loud is cool, you know, but it does mask some things at lower levels. Like I could hear people's mixes on anything, TV, radio, any of the formats. I could hear people's mixes, and I could hear small mistakes, but I could hear medium or big mistakes, and I could tell if they just listened too loud, because you miss certain elements across the entire loudness spectrum, across the whole spectrum, from headphones to earbuds to Westlake to you know, the biggest speakers and, you know, whatever. So these are important things to learn, because it's not just like you said, you know, a lot of home studios and stuff. There's a million people making a million songs, right?
Yeah.
Somebody's gonna get it right without this knowledge. But if you got this knowledge, it's like why I don't have just one gold, why I don't just have one platinum. You know, I got multiple by learning. I don't care what you call it a formula, but it's there. Sound is wave. Sound can be explained electronically. You can't have too much knowledge about how sound works, because then even if you're working in a crummy studio that has glass behind you, that has reflections, you could have listened to that test mix you brought and say, okay, I know what's happening. I'm not adding enough high end because the glasses that's reflecting is giving me false high end. You could go to another room that has too much damping. It's too much of a dead room. Yeah. And you will listen, and you will say, oh, I'm not adding enough. I'm adding too much echo because this room is dead, so I am overcompensating. But if you do that one simple thing about bringing that one test mix, and it could be a song you love, it doesn't have to be a song you love. It has to be a song that was mixed well. Gotcha. Okay, a song that is a sonic test device. Out of all the electronic.
Can you give us a few songs that you think were mixed very well besides some of yours?
Boy, a lot of them. And I could let me. There are so many that have been mixed. Excellent. I mean, so many bloody songs, from Motown to. I got to make an important point here that I just realized. Listening to old mixes that really were really good. In the old days, you couldn't mix the low end as loud as you can mix it today, because it was going to vinyl. Vinyl has a limit on low frequencies. So you could learn a lot about the mids, about the vocals, about layering, about arrangement from Motown, a whole lot about it, but you won't accurately judge the low end, because vinyl and cassette, okay, cannot replicate. Now today we could add 20 cycles. You know, in the old days, if you tried to put 20 cycles on vinyl, what they call a lathe that cuts the record would jump right out of the groove.
Wow, incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible. Now, can you give us some of the artists that you worked with directly in the studio? Okay, has any artist ever come to the studio and wanted to watch you do their mix?
No. Early on, there was a lot of interviewing when I was young and still learning. But then I got the reputation of being a platinum engineer and then a platinum producer. So people would come in and they would expect high performance from me. Nice. And yes, it's pressure sometimes, but so many people would leave me alone with their music. That even people would go to me, you know what you're doing. They'd ask me, like Phil Ramone, would ask me, "Do you need me now? If you don't need me, I'll be on the phone in the lobby." And people like James Brown would be, "You know what you're doing. That's what you're hired for."
Wow.
So they'd give me, like, when I did the DMX, it was expected that I would make a great presentation mix for West Coast radio, but
Nice.
they said do your best. And man, my best is, and I'm not being facetious.
I hear
I
you.
don't like braggarts, but I'm good at my craft,
Yes.
and I don't hesitate to say that, because anyone can be as good as me if they go through the same knowledge, the same learning, the same ear training, the same, and also being cool with the client.
Yeah.
I'd be friendly with the client. Sometimes, like an assistant engineer is supposed to be just quiet, and sometimes even an engineer. But I would get along with the clients too. You know what I'm saying? My philosophy is all men are truly brothers. So this, you know,
Yeah. Got,
God says love your brother. You
li-
know what I mean? So I would be open to any character that came my way.
got you. For those of you that just tuned in, this is the Hip Hop and R&B show with yours truly, DJ Cisco, and I'm just being blown away and drifting off into daydreaming as he speak. I'm visualizing everything he's saying. We have Richard Oliver on. He is a music producer, a music mixer, and he has some platinum stuff under his belt, some Grammy nominated stuff under his belt, and he's breaking down the whole production process from a professional point of view, like a person that actually studied music and learned different concepts and been around some of the greats and know how to create a great sounding product that will become Grammy worthy and things of that nature. Like, it's a process. People think that they can just go get a studio in a box and just come home and start making hits, and it's much bigger than that. Like, you have to hone your craft. And like he said, he didn't go to parties and functions because he was staying home learning how to operate his stuff. Now, guys like you are intricate parts of uh entertainers' lives, man. Entertainers' careers, I mean, because without people like you, they would not sound good. Bottom line, and there's nothing around that, and that's just it. Do you ever feel like you want to be recognized more, or do you not mind being behind the spotlight?
I'm satisfied. I was given a gift. I used the gift. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I like getting compliments and platinum records and gold and blah 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 blah. It's good, but that's all I need. And when you work with a dude, like RZA, and RZA goes to you, "You're really good." You know, that's enough for me.
I
And I was making really good bucks at the time, which bucks are harder to make in the industry now because there's economic climate and crowded and blah 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 blah. But I never even knew I'd make the money I made. I come from a poor coal miner's family,
oh,
and
wow.
I had no idea the money I'd be given, freely. When
I,
and I, it was that's also a compliment too when they're happy to give you this large ass check for doing their music, and
yeah,
they're happy to give it to you. They're grateful to you because they know you might have been the difference between nothing and gold, or gold and platinum, or platinum times one, plus. Here's the thing too. South Soul Joe Kane, you used to say to me, okay, he did horns on like something like 300 South Soul records. So he was the biggest arranger, biggest horn arranger, and me and him got to be friends. But he'd say to me, he'd be honest with me, and he'd say, "Hey Rick, I got a good project that I want you to do." And I'd say, "Cool." And he'd also be honest with me, and he was, I guess, Italian, whatever, and he used to use the phrase, he'd say, "Rick, I'm sorry today, but I gotta ask you to polish your turd." Meaning that you gotta have the stuff to work with to make a platinum. You got to have everything I talked about and more, but you got to have somebody got to give you the material. You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
can't make a platinum out of something that's never going to be platinum.
Got
Okay? You can't make a gold out of something that just you can't do it. You know what I mean? It's like building a fire with two wet sticks. You know, it ain't gonna happen. But you still do your best job, and you know, but you know, because I listen to a lot of songs. I know that even if all the marketing and everything is done right, they're just not going to be a hit. You know, I got so used to hearing hit potential from having worked with so many major artists and learning the craft myself that I was I got to tell you maybe it's a funny story. John McCurry, the guitar player for Cyndi Lauper on Girls Just Want to Have Fun.
Yes.
Me and my assistant at the time were just in the studio's lobby, and we heard the song come on, and we were both like, mega hit. This is a hit with a bullet, man. This is a hit. And this like producer who was more interested in white powder than doing his craft came by and said, "Oh, that's bubblegum crap. That shit ain't going nowhere." He was like correcting us, you know, and both me and Roger K just let it go. We just let it go because we were both saying, "Oh, Roger K, my assistant." Maybe some people remember way back there was that rock and roll song, "Fire, da 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 da, I bid you to burn." He was the guitar player on that. Wow. He's a very talented guitar player. Anyway, so I'm still friends with John McCurry, the Cyndi Lauper's guitar player. I recorded him on some other things, including Robert Lamb from Chicago.
Oh, wow. Okay. Dope, man. Oh, damn, you've been around, and I really, really admire you. So I see you have a studio in the background. So you have a home studio?
Yes, sir.
Do you work with like people that want to like utilize your services, or you only work for a company? What do you do?
It's pretty much private, and I do my own music. I've come out with a couple small records, you know, and I got a new record dropping soon. That Chill Trees also did one song on it with me. Oh man, it's cool. It's so good. The song is like this record is so eclectic. I got rock, I got R&B, I got hip hop. And before I shattered my left arm, and I have to say something right here. Don't hurt yourself doing stuff. I was the first responder on 9/11 at Ground Zero, and I got hurt really, really, really bad, and I didn't take care of it, and it caught back up with me about 3 or 4 years later, and I had to take a lot of time off. I split my spine and also cracked the vertebrae halfway up. Shattered left arm, 4 steel pins right foot, 2 in left knee. Fractured skull too.
This happened at 9/11?
I was the first responder at Ground Zero. I was there about from 3 in the afternoon for about 56 hours, and I got hurt, but I didn't want to. You know what I mean? It hurt, but I was like, oh, this will. I was a motorcycle guy too, and I was, oh, this will be okay. But I let it sit for a couple months, man. Take care of your health, because you ain't nowhere without your health. Take care of your health. Take care of your family. You know, take care of your friends. You know, and I just got to say, because I took a good amount of time off. I could afford to, but you know, but I thought about retiring fully, but I can't get it out of my blood. And let's get back to your question. Would you like me to give a quick tour of the studio?
Yeah, go ahead. Let's see what's going on.
Okay. So I got a full digital audio set up. I got 2 stations set up. I got colorful stage lights for the mood. And to answer your question, the studio isn't public. I only do, like, I'll do things by people by request, but not that much, because I was working on my own album, and it's going to be dropped. The first small label I talked to took it because you do good work. And also songwriting. Songwriting is hard. But I wrote a redemption album about all the relationships I've been in. and people like it.
Hear it.
You know. So anyway, so I got my stage right. I got a full digital audio set up here on station one. You can see it okay, right?
Yes, yes. Put it down a little bit.
Yeah, okay. So that's one station. I got keyboard, I got drum machines, I got rack with the equipment you need, and
Oh,
also to your people, learn to use a compressor. Learn to use a compressor. A
press.
compressor is not a tape saving device, it is a sound shaping tool. And here's some of my plaques hung up here. The rest are downstairs. Could you
Nice.
see them?
Yes, no, yeah.
Yeah, so there's some. Here's another one over here.
Wow.
Here's another one by my laptop. And here's the second station. Plus, it's set up for full digital video.
Put
You know,
down a little bit. Just
Kurzweil keyboard, couple guitars, some other instruments, real snare drum.
nice.
Was I too quick, or
No.
was that good?
That's all good, brother.
Yeah. So I set up my own studio, and I gotta say again, you know, people would say to me, you know, what about making platinum, making a gold, getting a Grammy nomination? Okay, they would say to me, what's the first thing to do? And I would say to them every time, first write a good song, you know? And it's hard because
Very.
people aren't that objective to you know, I say to people that they'll go, oh, this song I wrote is the best song that's ever been done, and it's going to go 100 times platinum and stuff like that. But you can't be objective to your own music because
Yes.
musicians are close to songs they do. To you, it's like, and I say this funny story. You could have the ugliest sister in the world, but to you, she's beautiful. That's how your songs are, you know. And I say that rhetorically.
I got
You know what I mean? Just for an example. First, listen, and you know, we're musicians, we're sponges, you know. So we take in we hear a good song. Sometimes we don't even mean to. We subconsciously try to copy it, you know. So it's hard. It's hard to write a good song.
You're right.
You know,
I know
and sometimes
writers.
it's just here. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I was saying that we gotta leave that for the people that, you know, hone that craft and know how to write, because people got to play their positions, man. We can't do everything. You're good at sound mixing and hearing the sonics and the different things that you need to hear. So hire a songwriter and then just tell them like what you want and let them write for you. But listen, Richard Oliver, I thank you for being on the show. This was incredible, man. It's like you have so much knowledge. You got all of this nice equipment at your spot. And if you ever start working where you'll do mixes for people, like people that say, Cisco, you know somebody that do a mix down for me? If you ever start doing that privately, please let me know, because I'm going to put you on to a lot of people that would love to utilize your skills.
Okay, because I'm, like I said, I had to take care of my health for a while, but now I'm back on the bandwagon, and I did my own record that LA Radio. I let them preview it. They said it's stellar, but
Nice.
I write objectively. You know what I mean? And I write from the heart, and I make funny, good hooks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? From what I learned from other artists. I didn't come up with this on my own. But people are liking the record so far. I guess it'll drop in about a month or two. And also I'm doing a small film on my own because I got hookups with I worked on several feature films, including Nightmare on Elm Street 3, The Making of Mr. Right, Le Bon, right on Amazon. And then I worked on and even starred in a cult film or two in the late 80s. You know what I mean? So just do it and enjoy doing it. You know, I don't know how to close this up. I'll let you take over. You're on top, mate.
Good.
And thank you for this opportunity.
No problem,
to
Richard.
share.
I could tell that you have so much knowledge in your head right there regarding your craft, and you just want to get it all out. I would like to do a part two to this interview in the future. Are you down for that?
Yes, sir.
Beautiful, beautiful. There you have it, Richard Oliver on DJC Radio Global. He is a music producer, sound engineer, songwriter, and I'm going to share some of his music with you guys. Oh, I don't have to. He's famous. Just listen to What You Really Want from a Nigga with DMX and Cisco. He did that mix, and he was on DJC Radio Global. Rich Oliver, thank you so much. Is there anything that you want to tell the world before you leave?
No, I think I said it all, and I don't want to ramble. But just keep your nose to the grindstone. Oh, one last little thing. It doesn't hurt to learn a little bit about electronics. You know, so you know how gates work and stuff. Oh God, I can say so much more. Cut me off, brother. Shut me down. I'll keep going till dawn.
That's why I said part two. But thank you so much, man. God bless. We'll be talking to you soon, and we're gonna have you back. And I'm gonna tag a lot of producers and engineers and people in studios so they can hear this. Then we're gonna have a part two. God bless you. Love you. All right.
God bless, sir. One love.
One love. Peace. There you have it, Richard Oliver, man. Oh, I knew he was gonna be like very knowledgeable, but he really takes everything about this music serious. And I'm just, not trying to always make this shit about me, but that's how I used to be, man. Back in the days, I was into electronics, started playing drums, then I started DJing, but I was into fidelity. I can hear when something is off. I can tell you if your system is in mono and like not stereo. Like I'd be like, yo, some wires are crossed. It's not sounding stereo right now. You know what I mean? So those were the days, but then life just took over. But as opposed to me and other people, he stuck it out. Richard Oliver, big round of applause, man. He really knows his shit, and I love it. So we're gonna have another show for our producers and everything like that, and he's gonna be back. But I hope you guys enjoyed this. I just want to do this tonight for the producers out there and the artists listening, and things like that, because there's too much music being put out that sounds horrible, guys. It sounded really freaking horrible. Like, I'm not even talking about the song itself. I'm talking about the mix down, the quality. It sounds horrible. So, guys, try to do some studying and put out only good products. Talk to you soon. DJC Radio Global. 24/7, 365 at www.thedjcisco Radio Show or www.wdjcradio.com.